Ladies and gentlemen, please join me with a moment of silence to remember the fallen, the prisoners of war, the missing in action, and to honor those who have served and are serving this great nation's armed services. Please join us in welcoming the Old Colonial Boys.
Come up.
My name is Andrea and I moved to Norwood in the mid-'80s. I married a townie. We were friends ever since Balch Elementary School. We live and raise our children in Norwood. We opened up our store, the Sugar Cone, in South Norwood, right next to the Balch Elementary, ironically. And I've worked in Norwood for the past 15 years in a couple of jobs, most currently for Ecolab. This is where I found out about Wreaths Across America, and when a couple of my colleagues, including Don Pierce, started a grassroots movement with the Military Employee Resource Group at Ecolab. Since November 1st, when we got approved, thanks to Mark Ryan, the director of the DPW, we got Highland and Old Parish cemeteries approved for this event. In that month, we've gotten over 100 donations of wreaths and an outpouring of volunteers that we see here today. I'm very proud to be part of this community. I'm proud to be here with you today. Thank you for coming and joining us. Thank you to our friends, neighbors, colleagues, and especially thank you to those who have sacrificed so that we can have our freedoms today, the veterans and their families. We are gathered here today at this memorial site, and the memorial sites all across America, to remember that we're one nation under one flag. We are all proud to be Americans that live in a free society made up of many people, many races from all walks of life. The freedoms we enjoy today have not come without a price. Lying here before us in cemeteries throughout the nation, men and women who gave their lives so that we can live free and without fear. We can worship as we see fit. We can raise our children as we believe that we want to do. We travel from one end of this great nation to the other and not have to ask permission to do so. We are free to vote for whomever we feel should be in government office, and we answer to no one but our own feelings. We have the right to succeed, and we have the right to fail at whatever we endeavor and whatever we wish to pursue. The United States of America was founded on the ideals of freedom, justice, and equality. Our nation stands as a shining beacon of liberty and freedom to the world. We thank you to those who gave our lives to keep us free, and we shall never forget you. We shall remember. Today, many of you here are veterans of war and conflicts that America has had to fight to protect the innocent and the oppressed. America has always been the first nation to stand up for freedom of people from around the world. Some of you here today have answered the call and served your country well. We are here today to say thank you, and we are honored to know you. There are many men and women serving today in all branches of the military, here at home and in places far away that most of us have never heard of. These men and women are part of the best trained, best equipped force in the world. We honor them and their families for the sacrifices they make each day to keep our country safe from terrorism, hatred, and injustice that plagues the world and our communities. When you see a veteran or an active duty member of the armed services, take a moment and say thank you. We owe them our way of life, and a moment in your time will be well spent. Quoting our 40th president, Ronald Reagan, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We don't pass it to our children in our bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on to them to do the same, or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children that it was once like that in the United States where men were free. Today we show a united front of national unity across the United States of America to remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach our children the value of freedom. We would also like to remember and honor the 93,129 United States servicemen from all branches of service whose last known service status was either prisoners of war or missing in action. These individuals have never returned to their families and homes, and we shall never forget you. Right now, I would like to welcome up to the podium Thomas Stella, retired Staff Sergeant from the Marines and the Army, and Petty Officer First Class of the Navy.
Good morning, everyone. As you said, my name is Staff Sergeant Tom Stella. I'm from Mansfield. I recently retired after 31 years between the Marine Corps Reserves, the Navy Reserves, and the Army National Guard. My dad is buried down in Bourne, and we used to go down every year to see him with the re-ceremony there. So when they asked me to do this, my first thought was if I didn't do this, my dad would be kicking my tail from here to eternity, so I couldn't say no. I actually worked till 6 o'clock this morning, so my voice isn't what it is, so please bear with me. I've been deployed twice to Kuwait, and I've seen a harsher side of life that people here don't realize that exists. That people in other countries don't have what we have. I see people that make in a month what I make in a week, and because they're from a foreign country, they send their money home to their families, so they have nothing. So I cherish everything I have here. I cherish my friends and the little opportunities we have. It's more than just a privilege for people like us. I've spent time away from my family more than once. I've spent a lot of Christmases, New Year's, Thanksgiving, all that away from my family, so I know firsthand that it's very hard, especially when you have a lot of downtime, because you have time to think about your family, what's going on back home. So it is very difficult. There's a special place in my heart for people that have given so much. One of my best memories from the service, I was down in South Carolina on active duty, and I had a weekend and went down to Savannah, Georgia, and we stopped into this little bar, and this old gentleman asked me if he could buy me a beer. That he was a veteran from Okinawa, from Iwo Jima. So I said, no, sir, you can't buy me a drink, but I'll be more than honored to buy you one. And I sat there for about an hour just listening to his stories. I also went to a school back in 2001 for the Marine Corps, and some of the people that came to our graduation were from a group called the Chosen Few. They're survivors of the Chosin Reservoir, which is one of the biggest battles in Marine Corps history for the Korean conflict. And the stories you hear and the sacrifices they make, it gives you a different aspect of reality, and it makes you appreciate more of the things you have, especially being where we are. Because we know what it's like to be away from our families, we know it's hard for our families as well. And I've had a lot of friends that have passed on over the years, especially with this last conflict that's been going on. There's been a lot of suicides that have gone on, a few in my own battalion, so I know what it's like. So the sacrifices they make for us to come here today and just do as little as we are, it makes a big difference in people like us. It means a lot to us. And it's nice to know that there's people here to take care of the veterans that don't have families to come with them anymore. And so you all know you're all in our hearts, and you're the reason we do what we do. And I'm glad we could be here for this inaugural event. Hopefully in the future I'll be here again to see you all. Thank you all very much.
I would like to now invite Teddy Mulvehill, who is the Director of Veteran Services for the Town of Norwood.
Thank you, Andy. Friends, family, members of the Ecolab Corporation, our dear friends, the Colonial Boys, brother and sister veterans, I bring you the greetings of the Norwood Board of Selectmen today on this very special day in the town of Norwood, our inaugural event participating in the Wreaths Across America program. As we stand on this hallowed ground, we're surrounding the graves of those brave men and women who served their nation with distinction and honor. The two words that come to mind to me today as we participate in this ceremony are love and respect. Later we'll be placing the wreaths, donated wreaths, on the graves of our loved ones across this cemetery and on the graves of those veterans. So we're here to bring the holiday spirit to our loved ones who now lie in eternal rest, and to respect and honor those veterans who have sacrificed so much for us. So as Andrea said, and Tommy said, we enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy today as Americans. It is a great honor to be here to participate in this inaugural program, and I especially want to thank you volunteers who have come out today on your Saturday to participate in this program, because it's indicative to me. This represents the best of what our town has to offer. Just regular, everyday folks just like you, come on out to honor and respect the veterans of our community, and to show a deep love and understanding of what they have given us. And these wreaths are a tangible, concrete gesture that we can make to show them that we will not forget them. So again, thank you to Ecolab, thank you to our Colonial Boys, to my brother and sister veterans, and all of you great volunteers and the speakers, and especially Andrea Reed for organizing this entire event. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next year.
Our next speaker is also a fellow graduate from Norwood High, George Curtis. George Curtis Jr. has his father in front of us. He is the most highly decorated vet that we have here today. So I've asked him to come and speak. He came out even though he's sick, and has agreed to speak. So I appreciate that very much. And we appreciate all your sacrifice and your family's sacrifice.
Thank you. My name is George Curtis Jr. First, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today. Thanks to Mark Ryan and the Norwood DPW, Paul Rinaldi and the cemetery crew, Ted Mulvehill from Veteran Services, and Andrea Reed for all the hard work to make this event happen. I'd also like to thank Staff Sergeant Stella for speaking here today. Throughout history, our veterans have put their lives on hold and at risk to protect our country, our freedoms, and our way of life. Here in Norwood, we have a long history of brave service to our country. Wherever they served, from Lexington and Concord to storming the beaches of Normandy or Iwo Jima, from Korea to the jungles of Vietnam, from battling in the sands of Iraq to the mountains of Afghanistan, and many, many other places, our brave men and women have served us well. They performed this service for us without asking for anything in return, including individual recognition. My father proudly served in the United States Marine Corps for 25 years. He volunteered to serve his country the day he turned 17 and was sent directly to Vietnam, where he served 4 tours as a helicopter crew chief. He also served in the invasion of Grenada and was part of the multinational force in Beirut, where the Marine barracks was bombed. He earned awards and medals, and he rose in rank to Master Gunnery Sergeant, but he never talked about battles or accolades. He did what he did to serve the rest of us, and like many veterans, he continued to serve for the rest of his life. If there was a charity or an event, a dedication ceremony for a monument, or a funeral for a veteran who he had never met, he was there representing the Marine Corps and veterans in general. And for over 20 years, he marched in the sweltering heat or the pouring rain for hours in full dress uniform in every Norwood parade, from Veterans Day to Memorial Day to the 4th of July. Veterans serve. It's who they are. A perfect example of this is Staff Sergeant Stella, who has no personal connection to anyone buried here in Norwood, but came here today to honor other veterans. Thank you again, Staff Sergeant, for your service. It's an honor to take place in this event that is recognizing the incredible service of our Norwood veterans. I'd like to thank you all once again for coming here today to honor the veterans who've served us so well. Thank you.
The wreaths that we're going to bring out and lay on the tables will represent our commitment as the United States of America civilians to remember the fallen, and also for the veterans to remember their brothers in arms and sisters in arms. We also want these remembrance wreaths to symbolize our honor to those who have served and are serving in the armed forces of our great nation, and to the families who endure sacrifices every day on your behalf. To our children, we want you to understand the freedoms you enjoy today have not been free and have come with a cost, and that someday you may have to pay yourself. As a nation standing together, we can defeat terrorism, hatred, and injustice. Thanks to our veterans, we have the freedoms to do just that. Thank you for volunteering today and helping us lay the wreaths and helping to honor our veterans. We actually have donated a veteran to Mr. Curtis's father as well. So that's going to be the first wreath that's placed today, is that he will start off by putting a wreath on his father's that was donated for his family, and the rest of his family is here as well. So we'll start off with him. But I do want to thank you all for coming and helping us lay these wreaths and honoring and respecting the people that have given so much to our freedoms. I want to thank Thomas Stella for coming out on little sleep. Teddy Mulvehill, who does anything and everything for the town of Norwood and has been there. In my last job, I worked with him for 10 years. Just amazing. He's always been amazing. So if you know anybody that ever needs to talk to a veteran service person in Norwood, please search him out in Town Hall. And of course, George Curtis and his family for coming out today. I appreciate you and all your family has sacrificed over the years. So thank you all. We'll lay out the wreaths at this time, and if you could help us lay them out on the veterans' plots. Teddy will help me direct people, hopefully. But thank you all again for sacrificing your time and donating your time and energies to come out and help us. We appreciate you. Thank you. Tyler, you want to come?
Mama. Wayne, you'll send that to me, right?
Okay, that's fine. No problem.
Andrea and she'll send it to you. Something like that will happen.
Wayne,
Wayne, you want to
right in the front there, buddy.
I'm just gonna grab one of these.
Get in the front, guys.
Yep. Anywhere you want to go.
Okay, one more. Come on. Get a picture.
Grab the check. I don't see you in the picture.
Everyone.
I think you need to be in here. See, you all think I don't know your name.